Hey everybody, good to see you again. So let's talk about composite moon opposing Neptune. So when this occurs, you really want to look at the natal charts to see how much Neptune influence is in the natal charts. Because if there is one or both partners who has Neptune going on, if that's part of their personality, a large part of their makeup, then it's going to make this opposition all the more difficult to deal with and potentially all the more disappointing, because the expectations will be all the higher. So when you see this opposition occurring, you want to look at it also in connection with what other aspects might be there. Are there more grounding aspects? Are there trines or sextiles to Saturn? Do we have other avenues of relating to each other that are more realistic? Because this particular opposition between Moon and Neptune shows how two people are relating to a vision of each other, really a fiction of each other. So we're very much wrapped up in deep infatuation that we really, really think is love. But love doesn't come until the relationship becomes real. It becomes a more honest representation of what it is, of what it is to relate to each other. So we have within all of us this reservoir of fantasy, of unmet dreams. And when we have this going on in the composite chart, we have two people that are very much projecting those fantasies and those dreams that have yet to happen within reality. Those are very much cast upon each other. And so we have two people who are relating to more of fiction and a dream about each other rather than the reality of who the other person is. So it only takes a little bit of stress or a little bit of reality to crack the facade when we have this particular opposition. And it's not until the relationship comes under some kind of pressure or stress, or just the truth starts to come out, that causes the house of cards to start to tumble very, very quickly. So it's a beautiful feeling that exists between two people, really a feeling of just being, completely overwhelmed by the connection and absorbed by it. And when we have to respond to something that is really imperfect, is something that's putting some kind of stress or pressure on the relationship, again, that's when the bubble pops. And it was such an inflated bubble, and the membrane was so thin that generally that's going to be the end of the relationship, or the relationship between two romantic partners. The relationship could morph into something else. But the expectations were so loaded that it's very, very hard to reestablish a viable connection between two people. So you want to look at what else might be there. Maybe we have some other things to work with, what I call escape valves, which are aspects, in this case, to practical influences, or aspects that are going to create practical influences, or the ability to make a choice for commitment, because generally we're going to feel like we're falling into commitment when we have this as something very faded and inevitable that we are experiencing with each other. And then when the reality starts to emerge, we start to see the real traits about each other. Again, it's so different from what we wanted and what we expected and what we pinned on each other, that it's just very hard to recover from in a relationship. So true love happens when we accept the facts, because the truth about each other is what a real love relationship is built on. And acceptance about what is, and about the realities of who we're actually dealing with. That's really the foundation of an actual love relationship, something that's really reliable, something that we can count on, because it's made of real things. And this opposition does not lend itself to a real connection between two people. But again, generally, this is such an intoxicating opposition to deal with in a relationship that generally two people are going to follow it to its natural end. You're not going to be able to talk them out of it, and they'll fight you if you try to. So it's one of those things. It's the moth to the flame, and hopefully we'll have both people who learn from it and learn to recognize when that little mining car starts going off the tracks there, because that's very much what happens. We just get very much swept away in that because we don't recognize that Pandora's box of projection opening up and being cast onto the other person. And this is an experience that can really give us insight into how that can happen. So we know ourselves. These unconscious fantasies that can control us, that can sweep us away. We know it. We've seen it. We've experienced it. We've accepted it. And now we have absorbed it into our conscious personality. We know it about ourselves. We know that capability exists. We know that that experience can happen because we've had it. We've been through it. And this is hopefully what we take away from it. We learn from it. And so it can lead us to situations and relationships and experiences that are more real, because we are not allowing that process of fantasy to be what guides us. We are looking for the realities and learning to love the reality about other people. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, please subscribe to my channel. You can find me on the internet at truthandaspectastrology.com, Facebook, Instagram, other social media. I also have a subscriber option on my website where I do, regular live question and answer videos, exclusive content of all kinds of video series over there. I just did the Jupiter and Capricorn video today, so that's over on the website as well for subscribers. And I'll be back super soon with more super cool videos. Bye.